All right, Alicia, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's a pretty in-depth presentation. So if you have any questions, if you want to wait until the end just to make sure I can get through all of them, because like I said, it's kind of long and there are multiple slides to a couple of topics.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just jump on in. We are a small boarding school by design. We have around 145 students, and we like to keep it that way. We do start boarding in 8th grade, which is a little different for our location, not boarding schools in general, but where we're located. We like to get, especially our international students, if we can, in 8th grade, get them used to the culture, used to the school before that 9th grade year when their grades and the rigor start to pick up a little bit. Um, we do have international students representing roughly from 10 different countries. We're an AP capstone school. We offer 17 AP courses throughout their career. Not all 17 are offered every year. Like AP biology and AP environmental science will switch on and off every year. But most of our students take between 1 and 5 before they graduate. But if they take enough, they can graduate with an AP diploma, which is really cool. So this is a video of our 2 campuses. We have a long yellow building that you'll see. We also have a downtown building that you'll see, but this street right here is where that building is. Something that's unique for Stuart Hall is we are not in a big metropolis area, but we're also not in the middle of nowhere. So there's still coffee shops and cute little boutiques and restaurants for students to go to after class and on the weekends, but the city itself is only 34,000 people. So they're not overwhelmed by the population and they feel a sense of independence. So I'm just going to let the video play and let you watch and then we'll move on. So hopefully that gave you a little bit better sense of what our school looks like in our surrounding area. We'll jump into the academic program. We are a college preparatory school. We have an emphasis on mastery learning. If you aren't familiar, most schools have the traditional style where you're learning material in order to present a project or usually take a test. You're just kind of regurgitating information, but that's not the best way all students can go. Do you know anything about mastery?
Sorry, Maria, I think that I couldn't hear you until just now, so I think I missed something. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, okay. So we are a college preparatory school.
Yeah.
We have an emphasis on mastery, which if you don't know what mastery is, it is more about mastering the skills in your class to be able to carry you into the next subject. So sometimes even classes will be mastering the same skill and they're able to do collaborative projects or go on group field trips. Uh, your traditional school would be more about learning information to regurgitate maybe on a test or paper or something. This is more about, what study and organization skills and research skills are you learning in your class in order to master that subject. We do have study and organizational skills for all of our students. We have a class their freshman year that they take called freshman seminar, and that's where they learn how to research properly for their papers, how to organize their planners, how to study for each individual class, and what study what study skills might work best for them. They also do things like budgeting. That happened 3 years ago. A student was like, I am starting a part-time job and I don't know how to budget my money. Can we put that in the curriculum? And she was like, I would love to teach you about that. So the class has morphed a little bit, not even into just study and organization skills, but life skills as well. We do offer English as a second language support. Sometimes it's not enough students to have a full class, but we will have a faculty member that's part of their contract, is to support those students that need the help. And so that may even look like they're helping them in their study hall, or our boarding students are required to have a 2-hour evening study hall every school night. And so sometimes that support person will come in and help them with papers, or understanding an assignment or something like that. This is just a photo example of one of our science classrooms. We have a physics lab, a chemistry lab, and then a biology lab. The chemistry lab just has, the chemical hood, a closet for all of our chemicals. We also have a separate science classroom for our 7th and 8th graders. Art at Stuart Hall, not just visual art, but music and theater are something that we are very in tune with and really celebrate a lot. This art that you're seeing right now is a student who graduated, I believe, in 2019. She is in college right now at Rhode Island School of Design, and she is studying furniture design, which I thought was really interesting and really cool. But we send students to college not only for visual, but like I said, music. There's someone at Berkeley School of Music, and then there was somebody at VCU for theater, Virginia Commonwealth University. So, students, we prepare them for all choices after college or after high school. This is another example of a really great piece of artwork that one of our students created. We are very honored that he decided to draw Stuart Hall, but then he was qualified to enter it into a contest against 500 other students, and he won. It came with a small monetary prize, but he was more excited about getting this photo published in a calendar that then was sold for residents of Virginia to hang in their homes.
Super nice.
College counseling is something that is not unique to Stuart Hall, but we do start it early. And college counseling every year doesn't look the same. Your 8th and 9th grade year, it's more about, okay, what are you interested in? What are some of your strengths? What should we be looking for? 10th and 11th is where we get a little bit more into the weeds. What classes should you be taking in order to achieve your goals? What school you want to go to? What other extracurriculars should you be taking part in? And then 12th grade year, usually you've already started applying over the summer. You started writing your essays. We're helping you get into the colleges that you want, but then also I know a lot of our students use our counseling services to help with financial aid letters. Not only do they get into the school, but now how am I going to pay for it? Because we understand that, we want education to be affordable for everyone. So that's a big part of our college counseling process too, is appeals, things like that. I mentioned the Eastham Center building, which is our newer building downtown. So our historic campus, and I say that and I mean it, we were founded in 1844, and the oldest part of our building was built in 1845. This building was opened 4 years ago. So it's new, it has newer walls, newer technology. This was right when it opened, and so the walls are very bare, but now our teachers have decorated it and created the space into their own. But it is nice to have that contrast. So I am going to formally introduce myself a little bit. My name is Maria Ortiz. I am the Assistant Dean of Enrollment Management at Stuart Hall School. I'm also a dorm parent, so I live on campus and get to see the students in the evenings and during the weekends. I also help plan all of our weekend activities, so I can speak a little bit on that. And I graduated from Stuart Hall in 2014. So right after college, I came back to work right away.
Wonderful. That's great.
So this is just a few lists of things in student life, and then I'll get a little bit more into detail with some of these, but we do offer a co-curricular program, which is new to us. We started 2 years ago, but we know it's not new to boarding school life. We are a very welcoming, warming residence life community, and I have a photo that I'll show you in a couple of slides. It'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But Steve actually asked me a question last week that I have been putting into my presentations because it was just something I don't even think about anymore, but is really important. From our first slide, we noticed that we do have a lot of day students. And when you have a lot of day students and a lot of boarding students, what are some ways that you're always trying to bridge that gap? And it always kind of felt like we were a day school with a boarding aspect, but now it's feeling a little bit more like we're a boarding school with day students, even though the majority of students are still day students. So this year we started inviting students to those weekend activities. And believe it or not, now boarding students have to fight for spots because day students love coming here on the weekends with our co-curricular program too. They're usually here until dinner. So sometimes they'll just stay and eat dinner with us and then go home before study hall. And that's what we've been striving to have since I started working here 5 years ago. And I feel like we're finally there. We're to the point where everyone considers this their home, not just their school. So the co-curricular program, this slide, one thing I like to talk about is it gives students the opportunity to focus on more than one thing. So a great example is I have a student, she just finished her freshman year at Yale. She's studying chemistry, but she's also very invested in music. She's a very talented violinist. And her senior year, she was very stressed because all of her AP courses that she wanted to take, she could fit them in, but she also couldn't fit in music in her day-to-day schedule. But then she realized I could just take my music and put it in the afternoon in my co-curricular time because there we do have a music co-curricular. So she was still able to focus on her academics that she wanted to during the day, and she still had a study hall, which she wanted to keep, so that way she could focus. But then in the afternoon, she was able to play music with her friends and meet with our music teacher and do recordings for school and things like that. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility and the ability to define your own schedule. Like there are also students this year that I think psychology and art clashed in people's schedules. So they were taking art in that co-curricular time, which the school day is 8:30 to 3:30 is the school day, and then 3:50 to 5:30 are those co-curricular times. And our boarding students are required to do 3 days a week. So here are just a list of some of our co-curriculars. I'll talk about athletics in a second. Esports, if you're unaware of what that is, that's video games. We've decided that if they're going to play them in their rooms by themselves, we might as well give them a space to do it together. And it's become a really great way for mentors to evolve because we open that a lot of these co-curriculars up 6 through 12. So you'll have a sixth grader in esports who is learning from a 12th grader, and they've created this mentorship that we didn't even force upon them. They just did it on their own. We have theater, yearbook, community service, co-curriculars. Woodworking is a very popular one. Creative writing is more popular than I thought it would be. But one that stands out above the rest for me personally, and it's not on this list, is we have something called Rise Up, which is a baking co-curricular taught by one of our chemistry teachers. And they focus on French pastries. And the kitchen for that is in the same building as my office. So I really enjoy that because whenever they have leftovers, they just bring them up to my office.
Okay, you. Yes, that's great.
Okay, so Stuart Hall, we are small, but we do still offer competitive sports. We offer intramural sports as well because we know not all of our students want to compete, but still want to be active. So some of our competitive ones are cross country, basketball, soccer, girls volleyball, and not listed, but this year we had tennis. Intramural, Qigong and Tai Chi are something we had last year and this year. Offerings will change from year to year, but that's more of a meditative martial art, not as much about self-defense. Fencing is actually taught by our theater teacher. He does the choreography for our local American Shakespeare Center. And so he teaches fencing to our students. Badminton, even though it's intramural, it gets more competitive than some of these other sports. I play it on Fridays with the kids, and it can get intense. Strength and conditioning is where we actually take students who sign up down to our fitness center and teach them how to use free weights, weight machines, ellipticals in a proper way, because if they're going to work out, we want to make sure that they're doing it safely and to the best of their ability. And then another one that's new that's not listed under the intramural side is Frisbee, Ultimate Frisbee. We had 30 students sign up, which is about a third of our high school population. And they are really enjoying it. They're definitely going to do it next year. They got jerseys this year. I also always forget to mention, but we are the dragons. You can see that on the back of the wall, which we like our mascot because almost all cultures have some connection to a dragon. That's just who we are. Even though we're small, we're diverse. We're from all over the world, and it's just a really a great mascot for us to have. When the Lunar New Year, when it's the year of the dragon, we go full out. I'll tell you that. So a lot of schools, a lot of universities, a lot of independent schools will tell you that community is at the core of their institution. But I really mean it because I'll tell you one thing during COVID, we struggled. We lost who we were. We didn't know what to do because we, even as adults in the community, because we're small and most of us live here, we couldn't have bonfires on Saturday nights. We couldn't go out to the movies whenever we wanted. We couldn't have picnics with the parents. It was really difficult. And now we're finally back to where we were, and it feels so good. I hosted a residence life party on Friday or Saturday of last week before the seniors left. And you would have thought that it was the most magical thing. I just asked them to play freeze tag for 2 hours, and you would have thought that they were 7-year-olds again. And it was so lovely to see. We are affiliated with the Episcopal Church, but we accept students of all faiths or no faiths at all. So we only have about 10 formal events that we go to a church throughout the year. The rest are held in this room that's in this photo, which is just our auditorium. If a student doesn't feel comfortable participating in one of those services, then they would just let us know. Really, the only ones I can remember from this year where we had an Easter service, and we had a lessons and carols service, which is around Christmas. We have a spiritual life coordinator, and her goal this past year was to educate us on all of the cultures that we have throughout our community. And she did an amazing job of it. And also, our faculty and staff also stepped up. We have faculty and staff that have different traditions, and they shared them with us. A great one was there was our ESL teacher. She actually is Jewish and wanted to share how she and her family celebrate Ramadan. And so that was just really nice for the students to hear, and honestly, for me. This last little thing I actually put into this slide because it's my favorite part of our community. Our school colors are red and white. And so when you enroll at the beginning of your year here, very first week, you pull either a red or a white bead out of a hat, and that's the color you are for the rest of your life. So when I came here in 2011 for school, I pulled out a white bead. And then even when I returned in 2018 to work, I was still white team. And we have competitions throughout the school year against one another to earn points. It's the last week of school here, and I'm very sad to say, but I'm pretty sure red team won. Uh, but I'm waiting for the official tally and the official announcement to come out. So we'll see about that. This is the photo I was talking about. This young man decided he wanted to perm his hair and didn't want to sit in a salon for however many hours that takes. So he asked one of the dorm parents, and he asked one of his friends to help him do this in a school bathroom. And just the sense of community that he even felt like he could ask a dorm parent, "Can you help me with this?" And knowing that the answer might be yes. And also his independence and his self-direction to know that this is an activity that he might need supervision for was just, something that we try to create within the student body. And it's just a great culmination of all those disciplines. But this also shows that this really is a home away from home, that they still can choose to be themselves and create those relationships. So I didn't talk about it. I forgot to talk about it on the last slide, but Stuart Hall does have a advisory program, and those are usually between 8 to 10 students per advisor. So they are very small. And the reason we do that is because we want the advisors to really be able to focus just on those students. They're the home base for that student. Their parents can contact the advisor, the consultants, the teachers, the student, the administrators, because that advisor is always in the student's corner, always. But the same can be said about dorm parents. like I said, I'm a dorm parent here. Last week I had a student message me while I was getting ready for work, and she sent me a picture of jeans. And then she messaged me and said, "Are these in dress code?" But really, that's something, if you were at home, you'd put on your jeans, walk down to your parent and say, "Can I wear these to school? Are they in dress code?" And it's just nice to know that our students feel that comfortable talking to us on that personal level. This is an image of one of our dorm rooms. This is average size, 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 sets of dresser drawers, and then 2 built-in closets into the wall. Most rooms can fit 2 students. We have single rooms, but those are usually held for seniors or those with medical restraints that need their own room. Uh, we there was one more thing. Oh, our dorms are in the oldest part of our building, but our students actually prefer it. They like the feel of these rooms because none of them really look the same. They all feel like bedrooms. They're not cookie cutter. There's no cement brick walls. It's all looks like a bedroom that you'd have at home with the old wooden floors. It creaks a little bit, but I've come to find out that the students actually prefer it. Each hall also has a lounge space with a TV, refrigerator, microwave, couches, but we also have a common room in the main part of our campus that's co-ed that has a pool table, foosball table, ping pong table, TV, board games, chairs and tables for them to eat snacks, and they can even eat lunch in there during the school day. But that's just a really great place for students of all different halls to be able to meet and be together. So this is my last slide, but when really thinking about the student at Stuart Hall, we want to look at the whole child because that's how you create an environment for a student to grow and blossom into the next part of their career. And that can be college, that can be technical school, that can be community college, or even straight into a job. We have some students that, work hard in their high school career and go straight into a professional career. But you can't say that they're ready for, or we can't as a school know in our hearts that they're ready for the next step unless we're focusing not only on academics, but their leadership, their relationships with their teachers and with their family and with their friends. Have we created that bond that they now feel like they can communicate how they feel, how they learn, and how they work to other people? And that's just something that we really, really want to look at all times. So that's Stuart Hall.
Thank you so much, Maria, for this wonderful presentation. I loved it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to getting to know more about Stuart Hall, about, well, not just the academics or the athletics program, but actually what it is, right? Like
Yeah, right.
what it is to live there. And one question, has it always been a co-ed school or?
No, so we actually started as all girls. We were actually the Virginia Female Institute in 1844. We added boys to the day program in the 90s, and then we added boys boarding the fall after I graduated in 2014. But quickly, we are now 50-50.
Okay.
So genders are 50-50. Because
Okay.
my senior class, we had 36 students and only 5 of them were boys.
Mhm.
But now, last year's class was 36 students and half and half. It was
Okay.
really nice to see.
Great. Perfect. And all these day students, because you mentioned you have like 32% who are boarders, right? The day students, are they also from Staunton or are they from across the state?
So the boarding students can be domestic, local, or international. So we have actually one student this year who is from Stanton, but she boards because her parent works a lot. And so it's nice for her to be a boarding student. But the day students, most of them are from surrounding towns. So the good thing about Stanton is that we are around a lot of collegiate cities. So we're right near Harrisonburg that has James Madison University. So a lot of our parents that work at that university send their children here. Washington and Lee is in Lexington, Virginia. And we actually have 13 students that take a bus from Lexington every day. It's about an hour drive. And then Charlottesville is about 50 minutes away. That's UVA,
Mhm.
University of Virginia. And then Waynesboro, Augusta County are like
Yeah,
15 minutes
we
from
know
us.
the area. We actually,
Okay.
yeah, we actually know Staunton. My grandparents many years ago bought a high school very close to Stuart Hall, actually, but we only organized summer courses there. And then
Okay.
many years ago as well, my dad and well his siblings sold the place, and now it's actually a home for elder people. It's still around, I think.
Oh, wait. Oh, the old what Lee building, the one in Stanton.
Yeah,
It now has Shannon Arts, and it's a community for elderly people. I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. That's literally, you could walk there from Stuart
Yeah,
Hall.
it's like 2 minutes. Well, 5 minutes
Right.
walking distance, 1 minute by car. So
That's
yeah,
great. Well, I'm glad that we got to meet today then. That's really
yeah, yeah,
awesome.
me too. I was very, very excited.
But yeah, so the day students come from the surrounding areas. Anyone over about an hour usually tends to board.
All right. Okay, cool. And yeah, from all those borders, how many nationalities do you have, or what are like roughly the number of Spanish speaking borders that you might have per year?
Well, this year we actually had three, which
Uh-huh.
is higher. Well, we had four, but one had to leave for personal reasons.
Uh-huh.
Two were from Mexico, one was from Spain, and one, she's from Brazil. She speaks Portuguese, but she also speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
So she tends to hang out with that group a little bit. But we
Okay.
also have students who are from Europe. So even though French or English or some other language might be their first language, they might also speak a little bit of Spanish.
Okay, perfect. I mean, we're actually looking for boarding schools that have a lower amount of Spanish speaking students. I mean, two, three, it's fine. But lately, we also see in other boarding schools we work with that maybe there's like, I don't know, 15 Spanish students. So
No.
that's why we're, yeah, trying
Yeah.
to
And
make
we also, just so you know, when pairing students in rooms, we don't put students together from the same country.
okay.
And we really try, even if they're not from the same country, we also make sure that it's not their first language isn't the same. So even our domestic boarding students will usually try to pair them with someone from another country. So that way they're also learning about their culture. The only culture we've ever really had a hard time with like a bunch of them together is we usually get a lot of students from Asia. So we'll get students from Vietnam or China, and sometimes we have to force them to speak English because they're just around their friends speaking their native language. But no, I would say on an average year, we have between 2 to 4 Spanish speaking students.
Okay, perfect.
And Spanish is the only language that we teach here. So we also have two teachers who are fluent.
Okay, awesome. All right. And you mentioned that you offer some type of financial aid, right?
Yeah,
Um,
so we offer index tuition. Our tuition for international boarding student with fees would sit around $64,000.
uh-huh.
But most of our students do apply for index tuition and receive some level of support. Some students can afford that tuition, and we welcome that, but we also want them to know that they should apply. It's called FAST. It's on our website. It's kind of like FAFSA. It looks at your debt to income ratio, how many other students are, in school, how many students you're trying to send to Stuart Hall is important too, if you're sending more than one student. Um, but if anyone's concerned, I would just say also, if you and I have a good relationship, instead
Mhm.
of, I mean, it's nice for them to fill out that form, but if you know there's a number that they can work with, if you just throw that out to us, we
Mhm.
also appreciate that. So that
Okay.
way, from the get-go, we know if this is going to work or not.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I guess you also take into account sometimes perhaps their grades, if they're somebody's like, I don't know, brilliant in terms of the academic side, or if, I don't know, or is it just, I don't know, just asking.
Well, we don't offer any merit scholarships right now. We have in the past for our ninth and 10th grade students, so I would have to get back to you on that to see if we're reinstating any of that. But really, right now it is just family finances.
All right.
There's no grades, no athletics, no
All
nothing,
right.
nothing like that.
Okay, perfect. Understood. All right. Thank you so much. I think right now you covered all my questions really, really well.
Okay. That's great. That's great to hear. But I have your email and you have my email. So if you need anything, just let me know. And I if I remember, you're doing a tour through America again.
Yes, yes, for sure. I mean, we go once for sure per year to the States, sometimes twice per year. We will for sure be traveling end of October.
Okay.
And well, as you can already figure, Virginia and Staunton is a must see for us because we're also quite attached to the place. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy to stay in touch, and perhaps when we are there, we can arrange a visit.
That would be really great. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you
Thank you,
so much
Lisa.
for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Much. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alicia. That's brilliant.
Thank you,
So
Stephen.
thank
It was great.
excellent.
I loved all the insights.
Brilliant, excellent. And some we've been getting some agency testimonials as well, just about their experience of the event. So if you get a spare 5 minutes, if you wouldn't mind just sending me an email, just sharing what you thought of the experience, that would be great as well.
Sure.
Okay,
Perfect.
awesome. All right, well, look after yourself and best of luck with your recruitment as well.
Likewise. Thank
Thanks a lot.
you.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.